Welcome back, guys, to the channel. And today, we're going to be taking a look at some of, three of the old Shamano reels that me and my brother have found over the course of this year. We'll be taking a look at the oldest to the newest. We don't have any 2000s ones. We have them to like the early 80s to the 90s. So that's what we're working with today. Today we will discuss, review, and then do a cast and compare to see how they have evolved from the first they came out and now. Even though Shamano first reel was a DUX, I think, spinning reel back in, I think, the early 70s. That's probably something that's super hard to find. But without further ado, let's discuss the first reel. The first one we're taking a look at is from the early 80s. It's an original Shamano, it's original Bantam Shamano reel with the old loose like handle parts. What we have on it, yes, it's an old Berkeley rod. If you've looked in the first video, I showed off this rod and reel combo from Bass Pro Shop. We decided to change it out. Taking a look at this reel right here, it's got like a nice looking feel in your hand. It's smaller, nice and compact. I feel like it'd be easier to work with. And what we have rigged up on it is an original Big O. Well, not original, but I think 90s or 80s Big O with crawfish pattern. The older Shamano reel is, being in its size, it's easier to control. Like any old reel with these old push buttons, they're like, take a little while to get used to. But being its size, it's super easy to use. And it's just a very, very good reel to have. They're very expensive too. My brother bought this at a hunting store for $25. There's nothing really special about it. I would love to find the original Lew's and Shamano reel that had Lew's and Shamano on it. And in a coming up video, I will be reviewing and unboxing an original Lew's reel that I've ordered. And it will be together with the original rod. But yes, this is one of the older bait casters that I've had. Well, this is my brother's. Super well. I love this one. It's one of my favorite. And being its size, it's super well to use. The next reel we'll be taking a look at is one I recently bought from a random store that sold God knows what. The guy's a little expensive. A little bit. And I guess he's had this reel in there for so long that he could never sell it. But when I came in there, he lowered the price to a perfect price. And the others, we bought some other stuff. He gave us a sneak peek in some of the stuff he was selling. And we got to be the first pickers to go in there and buy. And that coming up video, y'all do not want to miss it. We got some very cool lures to show off. But the reel I bought, first I'm going to show off the rod, because the rod is very cool. The rod is an older, very big rod. It's an old signature Bill Dance Quantum. Let's see if I can get down here. Here it is. It's called the Quantum Dance I think it's glass or glass. I'm not sure. But this rod was on it. Ooh, this thing is so long. It's hard to move it around in here. But yeah, just that rod. And now let's get to the reel. The reel is an original Shamano Beastmaster. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. You can barely see when I bought it. There you go. Beastmaster. And when I got it, it was super disgusting. These knobs where they were cracked. But it's super cool. And the one thing I don't get, the on and off button makes it to where like there's no, the push button doesn't work or nothing works really. I gotta still get used to this reel. It's a very interesting reel. So they made multiple different kinds of reels, I think, of this. They made the baitcaster. Then they made yes, the drifting reel. The Shamano Beastmaster. This reel, my hand's pretty big, and this reel is pretty hefty, to say the least. It's very stiff. I'm trying to fix the minor stuff on this thing, make it smooth. I have to say, when I was testing it, it's cast very well. I believe this reel came out late 80s. Probably. Early 90s, maybe. Like some Shamanos that they released, some of the Shamanos had this type of button. I was going to buy one off eBay for like 20 bucks, and it had that. The same push button. This one, I would say, due to the button being bigger, it's super better to use. But I want to talk about one thing that sticks out in this entire reel. Not just the size of it, but the the 2-speed shifter. And this is super interesting. When I first got it, it was so stiff, like it wouldn't even go back all the way, but me and my brother cleaned it up, got it working. So when you have it regular, like this, it casts this reel casts super good as long as you have a stiff rod. This reel, like regular, casts really good, but when you shift it, I need to do some more research about it, but I'm not completely sure. Makes it stiffer, but it still casts really far. I wonder if that's for heavier, I don't know, for heavier lures or, I'm not sure. But it's a super cool mechanic. But I did notice they did make other models of this Beastmaster's reel. But some of the other models I've noticed, take a look at this poor thing. Yeah, it needs a lot of work. Still, just needs its cleaning. It works really good. I'll be taking this on a tournament soon. So, but the last thing about this I wanted to say is that they made different models of this reel. And some of the different models, the 2-speed shifter was down here. I don't really know if that makes a difference. But yeah, it's the old Shamano Beastmaster. The next reel I'll be showing off is the last one in the collection. This reel came out, I think, 1995. And we have a Bassmasters magazine that showed off the dates and like the history and stuff of some things, and it had this reel on there. I'm trying to see the name. It's hard to see the name. But it's an old Shamano Bantam. It's from 1995. CU100B. I don't know what that means though. I'm not an expert on minor things on these reels. It's got the little lock in it, so you can open the side up. Got another Big O rigged up on it. It's more so, I've noticed, it's like a certain year when they were making bait casters, I feel like they were trying to perfect like this type. And they started making them bigger, made them bigger when they were trying to figure it out until they settled on this. You can tell this reel, my father's friend gave it to him. And the rod that it's on is an old Shamano I bought from a guy at a yard sale. Where have you seen in the video that not that long ago, I reviewed a quantum reel with a couple other ones I bought at a yard sale. And this rod was on it. This reel is super good in your hand. The push button is like smaller than usual. It's really just like your normal old bait caster, but doesn't have 10,000 buttons like the other ones these days, but super simple. But now we'll get to the throwing of these bait casters. Alright guys, so I'm recording this outside now because we're going to do a throwing. I didn't have time enough to take these lures off. I'll throw them. I would throw them in a better thing so y'all could see. But you may hear the cars close to the road. This is what we're doing first. We got the Shamano with the Berkeley rod. We casting her. The thing about these old ones is that you have to be super light with them. Like, this is how it feels in your hand. Super smooth in your hand. It's in the grass. But yeah, it's nice and compact and doesn't get in the way as other rods or reels usually are. And some of these other ones these days they're well, but I kind of like these older ones a little bit more. Give it one more cast. If you cast it just right and you have a heavy enough lure, it'll go out at least I'd say like about 10 yards maybe, almost 20, 15. Now I'm hung in the grass. Here we go, got her out. But yeah, there's not much to say about this reel. It's a very well reel and allows a loud car. Very good reel, but super expensive and hard to find. I know you can find them on eBay, but they're super expensive. But now we'll be getting into. But before this, I got something to say. We can't be recording the Beastmaster because something happened to that while I was recording. Y'all may have seen. It kind of stopped winding. I gotta look into that. My brother's working on that right now. I might make a following up video, probably not. Because I don't really like making part 2s unless they're very necessary. But yeah. Now we're on to number 2. We're on to the 1995, I think, Shamano baitcaster. The Shamano reel with this is super stiff, so it's really good with crankbaits and it should cast far. We have the Big O on here. With the falling up click. Let's see here. Ooh. She casts far. Still, like normal bait casters, feel good in your hand. Super smooth. The grips on these are like a lot better. But I still think... Ooh. They're a little hung up. But the grips on these, like the handle parts, are really better. Well, that's typical, but I have to say, I don't know, if this was a competition, I would say the original Shimano would win. Telling from how the compact it is and how well it still works to this day, and how well it feels and how it's really easy to handle with, I would say that one would win compared to, ooh, there it comes, to the newer reels out here today. Yeah, there's nothing left to say about it. This is the 1995 one, and then you got the early 80s Shimano reel. Do a comparison so y'all can see what they look like from now and then. They don't stop hooking on each other. This is what they look like. Super cool. But there's nothing left to say about them. Old Shimano rules. There's nothing left to say. Alright guys, we've reached the end of the video. Leave a like and subscribe. And maybe leave in the comments anything else you want us to review. Any reels or nothing. We do got an ambassador, so if y'all want us to review that next, you can. But I guess I'll catch you in the next one.